I look after a long day in the car? Just kidding.
We will go ahead and get started with today's Verizon IndyCar Series post-practice press conference, joined now by Danica Patrick, driver of the number 13 GoDaddy Chevrolet for Ed Carpenter Racing. Danica, you just completed your first official day of practice back here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Got a taste of testing last week or the week before that.
Yeah, I know. I get confused myself. 2 weeks ago.
All the days blend together, exactly. What is the difference between a day like that and getting back to your first official practice here at the Speedway?
Well, I mean, first off, I am glad that the test ended up getting moved to 2 weeks ago instead of 6 weeks ago, just to be a little bit more fresh from that. But it was good to have all that time by myself for the most part. I mean, I think I drove behind Ed for a few laps at the end of the day on when we were here 2 weeks ago. So, you know, today, I mean, it's everybody. So especially at the end of the day, it's happy hour, or it could be unhappy hour if your car's not very comfortable, because there's a lot of cars out on track. But you know, I sort of jumped into the back of a group, and then got into kind of the middle of a group and was able to pull away from the car behind and kind of close up a little bit on the car ahead. And so I felt pretty good. I'm still not completely confident in traffic, and you know, they're trying to encourage me to use my tools and the bars and the, you know, and the weight jacker and things, but I'm like, I need to feel the traffic first. Like, before we create another variable as to what's going on, I need to familiarize myself and get sharp again with, you know, the traffic and just the tendencies of the car. So yeah, it was a really, I mean, I felt like it was a really solid day. I feel like the car has a lot of good natural speed in it, and it was a very smooth day. We tried a handful of things and found some stuff that worked, and but I think that, you know, probably anyone that comes in here is probably, and I mean, I'm just fresh back, so I'm sure somebody else will have better info than me, but it definitely seems like, you know, understeer in traffic is going to be the determining factor of where you go. You know, you can get a decent lap, but you know, once you get closed up on the car in front, you're going to deal with the front getting really light on you. So yeah, that's the job at hand, is how do you fix that and make yourself still comfortable alone, find that balance. So that's what we're trying to do, and yeah, it was a good thing it didn't rain.
You said that you feel like the car has good speed, and that as you're working through this, you're trying to feel out different things of the car. How quickly does that come back? Because that's something you certainly have to acclimate to, is relearning the feel of the car.
Yeah, definitely relearning the feel and remembering kind of the pattern of lifting and sort of the timing of it, and you know, where you do it in the corner, and where you downshift and when you upshift and when you leave it, and just little things like that. I would say that just driving the car and being distracted with other things like adjustments and traffic and looking in my mirrors and things like that is getting, I'm getting a little bit more comfortable and almost reminding myself, like, oh, hey, you're not thinking hard enough about that corner there, and you're doing 230. So, but you know, that's what you need to get to. You need to get to the point where driving the car is very natural and instinctive on what's happening, and then, you know, be able to digest the other scenarios, the cars around you, the adjustments you're making, thinking ahead on the adjustments. So, timing passes. You know, you need to create a lot of room for that kind of stuff out there, as opposed to just driving the car. The race is very little of just driving the car and a lot of the other stuff.
Absolutely. We will go ahead and open up for questions, starting with Chris in the front.
So it sounds like you're trying to battle, you want to feel comfortable but not feel too comfortable, and kind of get in that. Is the pace of what you thought it would be? Are you on track as far as transitioning back and trying to, like, riding a bike again, I guess the old cliche?
Like I was joking about riding a bike, a 230 mile an hour bike. That's a different story. Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, like I said, the very first day I was in the car, it felt way worse than what I thought it was going to feel. Day 2 was much better than what I thought it was going to feel. And I would say for day 1 of Indy 500 weeks, I call it a fortnight, right? It's not a month anymore, unfortunately. But I would say that today went really well. We accomplished what we wanted to. we ran alone, we tried things, and we got the car to turn a little bit better, and we got in traffic. So for a good few laps, so quite a few. So I'd say today was a really good day, really solid day. Again, I've kind of kept the mantra in mind of like I had when I came for the test, and that's that it's about building confidence, not breaking it. So I think that the team is very solid, and they have great cars, and it's a great organization. We don't need to be silly, and we can rely on teammates and pace ourselves a little bit here and there. Fortnite, it's a British term, right? So there's a lot of British people in IndyCar, so.
Hey, Danica, thanks for taking my question. Compared to what it was when you was a rookie here back in 2005, what is the difference, even though it's two different sets of cars, you're going to be able to remember from now, you can use with the cars now?
The feel, or like just give me some synopsis of what's different now than then?
The different styles of cars, what it makes now compared to the chassis back then and stuff like that. What I know it's totally different, but how is it you gonna be able to use what you had back then to now?
Do you remember what was going on 13 years ago?
Something yes, something no.
It's pretty tough to remember exactly, the way that the car felt compared to now. We're talking about 13 years and a heck of a lot of laps in different cars and situations. But, I think the oversweeping feeling every time I come to this track is that you have to be humble and respectful of it, and that you're going very fast. Things happen very fast. You can go out from one run to the next and not change anything, and the car can be different, and you just need to keep your wits about you. So, it's, for the very beginning of the month of May compared to my very first month of May, in general, I'd say I'm humbled by the fact that the car has a lot of good natural speed, and it's really just a matter of making a good race car then. But of course, back in those days, at this point in time, we weren't running in a pack at all. We were only working on speed. The whole first week was really about just getting ready for qualifying. So we just don't really, we're not in that scenario now.
First time you came here in a few years, the business side of being a driver is just strictly business side of being a driver. Did you ever imagine that you would be involved in as many business ventures as you are now, and how the Danica brand came about?
Definitely not all at once. I am interested in many things, but for a book, a clothing line, and a wine to all launch at the same time was, or within 12 months, it was, it all was happening. So, but hey, Bobby Rahal gave me great advice before I was an IndyCar driver, while I was just signed on to do Formula Atlantic for him, and that was that you need to save your money, don't spend it all, and think about when you're done racing, the fact that for him, he wanted to be able to live the same lifestyle after racing as he did during, even though of course your salary goes away. So what else can you do to provide that, and what can you do to build a financial structure to do that, and to live the same lifestyle? So that always stuck with me from a very long time ago. So that was probably 2002 or 3 that he told me that. So I've always kept that in the back of my mind, and I think that's to some degree some of what has motivated me to remember that there is going to be a lot of time after racing. And here I am, a little younger than probably what I thought I'd be when I retired, but at the same point, what year did I start? I was 2005, so I was 23. I remember thinking to myself, I don't know, maybe I'll do it for 10 years, and it's not that far off. So anyway, I guess I wasn't so far off with two different series. So I've been very fortunate in my career, and I'm excited about the next phase. And I know that racing has given me everything I have. It's given me every opportunity I have, and it really all started here.
Danica, earlier today you went and shared some of your racing experience with a group of local high school girls. On a day that is so hectic for you, you have so many things going on, why was that something that was important for you to take time to do?
Ideally, it would be nice if it wasn't on the very first day on track when I had to do, lengthy interview, and I had to do. I mean, they let us go out at a 10 or 11, and do a leak check, and that wasn't in the plan. And I know they had to wait around for my original time, but those are just good things to do. I mean, it was quick. It wasn't very long, but it's still, your presence, and I'm not shy about my message. So that to me is the next phase of moving into, at life after racing is I want to, spread that message of empowerment and dreaming and setting big goals for yourself. So, and finding what it is that you love to do so that you have the motivation to do it past when it's challenging.
And we'll take our last question from George.
Danica, over here.
I can't hear you all up in the air.
Over here. Obviously, your goal is to win this race, and you came close early on when you started here. If you would win this race on Memorial Day, would you think about coming back and doing it again?
No, absolutely not. That would be the perfect way to never come back. Don't you think? Yeah. Don't you think?
I think get out of there, drop the mic.
That's right. Just mic drop that thing. I think that would be the perfect way to go out. But I have to say, I never thought, if you talk to anybody in the last 5 years about, am I going to do Indy, like personal, like family and people, I said I'd never do it again. Like, no way. Like, I'm just not gonna do it. It's been too long since I've been in the car. But the way that it all went down with being able to have time to prepare and be really focused, like, I watched Kurt do the double, and I really tried to do the double the second year I was gone. But I watched him do it, and how much back and forth you have to do. Look, you can do it, but that to me, based on the fact that I had done so well here so many times and have so much a fond history here in my own memory, like, I didn't want to come back just to do the double. Like, I didn't want to. I felt like I could within the first 2 years I was gone and still do a really good job, but after being gone for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, I was like, I didn't think I'd ever do it again. So I have to say that only just because you never know. But look, if I win, I really don't think I would come back. It'd be perfect. It'd be perfect just like that.
Danica, thank you very much. We appreciate your
All right,
time.
thanks.